There is a question that almost everyone begins asking at some point in life: how do I stay young? And after the age of 50, that question becomes more important than ever. But here is the truth. Staying young is not really about looking younger. It is not about chasing a number on a birthday cake. And it is certainly not about pretending that time does not exist. The real goal is much more powerful. It is to maintain your strength, your energy, your mobility, your mental sharpness, and your independence for as long as possible, because aging is inevitable. But how you experience aging is influenced to a remarkable degree by what you repeatedly do. Your body is constantly adapting to the signals you give it. When you stop moving, your body receives the signal that strength is no longer necessary. When you consistently sleep poorly, you interfere with systems involved in recovery, metabolism, and brain function. When you avoid physical challenges, your capacity gradually shrinks. And when your days become repetitive, stressful, isolated, and mentally passive, your mind can begin to lose some of the adaptability that makes life feel vibrant and meaningful. But the opposite is also true. Your body can respond positively to the right signals at almost any age. You can build strength. You can improve your cardiovascular fitness. You can improve your balance and mobility. You can support better sleep. You can continue learning. And you can create a lifestyle that does not merely add years to your life, but helps you maintain life in your years. Today, I want to share 6 golden habits that can help you do exactly that. These are not magic tricks. They are not expensive secrets. They are not based on the idea that one supplement, one workout, or one perfect diet can stop aging. Instead, they focus on something much more important: the daily and weekly behaviors that send your brain and body the message to remain capable. Because after 50, the goal should not simply be survival. The goal should be capacity. The capacity to get up from the floor without assistance, the capacity to carry your groceries, the capacity to walk long distances, the capacity to travel, the capacity to think clearly, the capacity to play with your children or grandchildren, the capacity to live independently, and perhaps most importantly, the capacity to wake up in the morning and feel that your body is still an asset rather than an obstacle. So let us begin with the first and one of the most important habits: building and preserving muscle. After the age of 50, muscle becomes about far more than appearance. It becomes about freedom. It becomes about being able to stand up without struggling, walking upstairs without fear, carrying your own bags, picking up something you dropped, moving through life without constantly wondering if your body can handle the next challenge. And the truth is, many people do not realize how valuable their strength is until they begin to lose it. You may not notice it at first. Maybe getting out of a chair takes a little more effort. Maybe your knees feel less stable. Maybe you avoid carrying heavy things because it feels uncomfortable. Maybe you start asking someone else to do tasks you once handled without even thinking. These changes can happen slowly, quickly, almost invisibly. And one day you realize that your world has become smaller. You stop taking the stairs. You stop going on long walks. You avoid lifting. You become more careful, not because you are weak in spirit, but because your body no longer feels as reliable as it once did. That is why preserving muscle matters so deeply. Muscle gives you options. It gives you the ability to react when life demands something from you. If you lose your balance, strength may help you catch yourself. If you need to lift something, your body is prepared. If you fall, having more strength can make it easier to get back up. Think about that for a moment. Strength is not just about the gym. It is about independence. It is about dignity. There is something deeply emotional about knowing that you can still rely on your own body, that when life asks you to move, lift, climb, carry, or stand, you are capable of answering, and you do not need to become a bodybuilder. You do not need to lift enormous weights. You simply need to give your muscles a reason to stay, because the body is always listening. When you challenge your muscles, you send a powerful message. I still need this strength. Do not take it away from me. Start where you are. Use your own body weight. Lift manageable weights. Practice movements that make everyday life easier. Be patient with yourself. Do not compare your strength to who you were at 25. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, because every workout is more than exercise. It is an investment in the person you still want to be years from now. The person who can move freely, live independently, and trust their own body when it matters most to sleep is one of the most powerful things you can protect after the age of 50. And yet, so many people treat it as if it does not matter. They sacrifice sleep to finish one more task. They stay awake scrolling through their phones. They tell themselves they can catch up later, but the body remembers. There is a difference between feeling tired and truly understanding what exhaustion is slowly taking from you. When sleep becomes poor night after night, everything can begin to feel harder. Your body does not recover the same way. Your mind feels slower. Your patience becomes shorter. Even small problems can feel heavier than they really are. You wake up, but you do not feel restored. You go through the day carrying an invisible weight. And sometimes people accept that feeling as a normal part of getting older. It does not have to be. Sleep is not wasted time. It is not laziness. It is one of the moments when your body finally gets the opportunity to recover from everything you have demanded of it. Think about how much your body carries every single day. The stress, the movement, the responsibilities, the worries you never talk about, the problems you keep replaying in your mind. At some point, your body needs permission to let go. That is what makes good sleep so valuable. After 50, recovery becomes something you need to respect. You cannot keep demanding more energy from a body that you never allow to fully recharge. You cannot expect your mind to remain sharp if you constantly deprive it of rest, and you cannot continue living at full speed forever without eventually feeling the consequences. Creating better sleep habits does not require perfection. You do not need to panic over one bad night. Everyone has them. The goal is to create a rhythm your body can trust. Try to go to bed around the same time. Give yourself space to slow down before sleep. Turn off the noise. Step away from the endless notifications. Let the day end, because sometimes the hardest thing is not falling asleep. It is allowing yourself to stop thinking, to stop solving, to stop caring tomorrow before tomorrow has even arrived. Protecting your sleep is a quiet act of self-respect. It is saying, my body has done enough for today. And after years of working, struggling, caring for others, and carrying responsibilities, there is something deeply human about finally giving yourself permission to rest. Your heart has been working for you every second of your life. While you were sleeping, it kept beating. While you were working, worrying, laughing, and struggling, it never stopped. And after the age of 50, taking care of your cardiovascular system becomes one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Because there may come a day when you realize that you are not avoiding movement because you do not have time. You are avoiding it because your body feels tired. A short walk feels longer than it used to. A flight of stairs feels like a challenge. You begin looking for the closest parking space. You take the elevator automatically. You slowly remove movement from your life without even noticing. And that is how life can quietly become smaller, not overnight, not all at once. Just little by little, you stop walking far, you stop exploring, you stop doing the things that require effort, and eventually you may find yourself living inside a smaller physical world than you once imagined. That is why cardiovascular fitness matters. It is not only about running marathons or spending hours on a treadmill. It is about maintaining the ability to move through your own life, to walk without fear, to travel without feeling completely exhausted, to climb stairs, to play with your grandchildren, to go somewhere simply because you want to go. Your heart and lungs need to be challenged, not punished, not destroyed. Challenged, a simple walk can be a beginning, a bike ride, swimming, dancing, anything that gets your body moving and reminds you that you are still alive, still capable, still able to go forward. And sometimes movement gives you something exercise machines never can. It gives you a moment to breathe, to step away from the noise, to feel the ground beneath your feet, to remember that your body was designed to move. You do not have to start fast. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. If 10 minutes feels difficult, begin with 10 minutes. If walking around the block feels like a challenge, start there. There is no shame in starting small. The real danger is convincing yourself that it is too late to start, because every time you move, you are fighting against the idea that aging means becoming less capable. You are reminding your body that you still need endurance, that you still need energy, that you still have places to go. And with every step, you are giving yourself another chance to feel strong enough to experience the world beyond the chair, the room, and the limits you may have quietly accepted. After the age of 50, food becomes about much more than satisfying hunger. It becomes about how you want to feel when you wake up, how much energy you have to move, how well your body recovers, how strong you want to remain in the years ahead. But for many people, eating becomes automatic. You eat because it is time to eat. You eat because you are stressed. You eat because you are tired. Sometimes you eat because food is the only comfort you have given yourself all day. And there is no shame in that. Food carries memories. It reminds us of childhood, family gatherings, celebrations, people we loved. A familiar meal can make us feel safe when life feels difficult, but there comes a point when we need to ask ourselves an honest question. Am I eating in a way that supports the life I still want to live? Because your body after 50 deserves attention. It has carried you through decades, through long days, through stress, through responsibilities, through moments of joy and moments you thought you would never survive. And now it still wakes up every morning and asks for what it needs, not perfection, not punishment, just nourishment. You do not need to follow an extreme diet. You do not need to fear every piece of food. And you do not need to make eating miserable. The goal is to give your body more of what helps it stay strong, enough protein to support your muscles, foods that provide vitamins, minerals, and fiber, fruits and vegetables, real food that leaves your body feeling supported instead of constantly drained. And sometimes the most difficult part is breaking old habits, the late night snacks, the endless sugar, the oversized portions, the idea that because you have eaten a certain way for 40 or 50 years, you can never change, but you can. Your next meal is another opportunity not to be perfect. Just to make a better choice, one better breakfast, one healthier lunch, one glass of water instead of another sugary drink. These small decisions may seem unimportant in a single day, but your body does not experience your habits for only one day. It experiences them repeatedly for weeks, for months, for years. And slowly, those choices become part of the person you are becoming. So do not eat simply to fill your stomach. Eat to support your strength, eat to protect your energy, eat because the years ahead still matter, and your body deserves the fuel to keep carrying you through them after the age of 50. It is easy to believe that the most important chapters of learning are already behind you. School is over, your career may be slowing down, the routines of life become familiar. You know what you know, and sometimes it feels easier to stay inside that comfortable world. But there is something dangerous about becoming too comfortable. When every day looks the same, your mind can begin to live on autopilot. You wake up, you follow the same routine, you have the same conversations, you watch the same things, and slowly, without realizing it, you stop asking questions. You stop being curious, you stop being surprised, and that is not what staying young should feel like. A young mind is not defined by age. It is defined by curiosity. It is the willingness to say, I do not know this yet, but I want to learn. That word yet can change everything. Maybe you always wanted to learn another language. Maybe you wanted to play an instrument. Maybe you wanted to understand technology instead of feeling afraid of it. Maybe there is a book you have been meaning to read for years. Maybe there is a skill you once believed was only for younger people. Why? Who decided that learning has an expiration date? There is something incredibly powerful about being a beginner again. Yes, it can feel uncomfortable. You may make mistakes. You may feel slow. You may feel embarrassed when someone younger understands something faster than you. But that discomfort is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you are stretching beyond what is familiar, and growth often begins there. Your brain needs challenges. It needs new ideas, new problems, new conversations. It needs moments when you have to pause and think, when something confuses you. When you have to try again, do not let the number of your years convince you that your story is finished. You are still here. That means there are still things you have not seen, questions you have not asked, skills you have not discovered. There may be a part of you that has been waiting quietly for permission to begin again. Give yourself that permission. Ride something difficult, learn something unfamiliar, talk to people who see the world differently, take the class, open the book, ask the question you think is too simple to ask. Because every time you learn something new, you remind yourself that life is still moving, still changing, still offering you something beyond yesterday. And perhaps the most beautiful feeling of all is realizing that no matter how many years you have lived, there is still something ahead of you that you do not yet know. After the age of 50, you begin to understand something that may not have seemed important when you were younger. Time feels different. You start thinking about the people who are still around you, the friends you have not called, the family members you keep meaning to visit, the conversations you thought you would have someday, and sometimes someday arrives much faster than you expected. Life can become incredibly busy. For years, you may spend your time working, raising children, solving problems, paying bills, and carrying responsibilities that never seem to end. You tell yourself that when things finally slow down, you will make more time for the people you love, but life has a strange way of always giving us another reason to wait. That is why relationships matter, not because being surrounded by people magically solves every problem, but because human connection reminds us that we are not meant to carry everything alone. There are moments when a simple conversation can change an entire day, a phone call, a shared meal, a laugh that makes you forget, even for a few minutes, about everything that has been weighing on your mind. And after 50, those moments can become more precious than ever. At the same time, you must learn to recognize the stress you carry. Not all stress announces itself loudly. Sometimes it hides inside your shoulders, inside sleepless nights, inside constant worrying, inside the habit of saying, I'm fine, even when you are exhausted. You may have spent years being strong for everyone else, being the person who solves the problems, the person who never complains, the person everyone depends on. But even strong people need somewhere to put the weight down. You do not have to attend every argument. You do not have to answer every message immediately. You do not have to prove your worth by being constantly available. Sometimes protecting your peace means stepping back, taking a walk, sitting quietly, spending time with someone who makes you feel understood, logging without checking the time, letting yourself breathe. Because a meaningful life is not built only through achievement. It is built through moments of connection, through people who know your story, through relationships that make difficult days feel less lonely, through the simple comfort of knowing that someone cares whether you are okay. As the years pass, protect the people who bring warmth into your life, let go of unnecessary conflict, stop carrying burdens that were never yours to carry, and make space for the people, the moments, and the peace that remind you why life is still worth showing up for every single day.